In 1993, in Makkatul Mukarramah, Maulana Inamul Hasan Rahmatullah alayh said to the elders, as I told you, these were the occasions when all the elders used to gather. Tongi, Raivan Ishtama and Hajj. So in 1993 Hajj, when all the Buzurgs were gathered, Maulana Inamul Hasan Rahmatullah alayh said that this work has grown. It has reached the corners of the world. In many countries the work is going on. Such a vast and big work. No individual is capable of handling such a great, vast work. I am not capable of handling it. There should be a Jamaat. That Jamaat should handle it. The responsibility should not be upon me alone. There should be a Jamaat responsible. And that Jamaat should take care of this work. This Maulana Inamul Hasan Rahmatullah alayh said in Hajj in 1993. There it was decided that some of the Buzurgs are not here. We will all come to Nizamuddin and there we will form this Jamaat. So the same year, in August 1993, Hajj was somewhere in June, July. And in August, they all gathered in Nizamuddin. And Maulana Inamul Hasan Rahmatullah alayh formed a Jamaat of 10 as Shura to take over this work, to carry on this work. And he said that let not one person be responsible, let a Jamaat take the responsibility. And let a Jamaat carry on the work. This he decided in 1993 August. And 10 persons were appointed as Shura. Maulana Muhammad Umar Palanpuri, Maulana Izhar Sahab, Miyaji Mehrab Sahab, Maulana Zubair Sahab, Maulana Saad Sahab. 5 from Nizamuddin. 4 from Raivan. Maulana Mufti Zainul Abidin Sahab. Maulana Sayyid Khan Sahab had migrated by that time to Raivan. And Mufti Zainul Abidin Sahab, Maulana Sayyid Khan Sahab, Bhai Abdul Wahab Sahab and Bhai Afzal Sahab. 4. And 1 from Kakrail, Haji Abdul Muqid Sahab. This Jamaat was formed by Hazratji Rahmatullah alayh in 1993 with a clear advice that let the responsibility not be on one individual. Let a Jamaat take this responsibility and carry on the work. At that instant, भाई जरा घड़ी दे दो मुझे, ये दिखती नहीं मुझे. At that instance, Maulana Sayyid Ahmad Khan Rahmatullah alayh asked him, घड़ी भाई ये दिखती नहीं है बराबर मुझे. Maulana Sayyid Ahmad Khan Rahmatullah alayh asked him, Hazrat ji, when you are with us, you will be the Faisal. But in case you are not with us, then who will be the Faisal? At that time, Maulana Sayyid Ahmad Khan asked him. Hazrat ji said that wherever and whenever you gather, you fix one Faisal among you 10. Whenever you gather, you fix a Faisal among you. This was in reply to Maulana Sayyid Khan Rahmatullah. So 1993 Shura was formed. 1995 the whole Shura along with Hazrat Ji went for Hajj. After return, Hazrat Ji passed away. After return from 1995 Hajj, Hazrat Ji passed away. Then this Shura of 10 gathered in Nizamuddin. They all gathered that how the future, this work will be carried out. In future, how this work will be carried out. And they all agreed. Haji Abdul Wahab Sahab, he is alive. And he is the witness. And many occasions he has said this, that when we 10 sat, we all agreed that in future this work will be carried out by a shura and no Amir will be appointed. So we did not appoint an Amir and we decided that this work will be carried out by shura and all the 10 agreed on it. All the 10 agreed on it. And there will be no bayat in Nizamuddin. These 2 points all agreed. Is it clear, brothers? This was the agreement of all the 10 shura, which was formed by Hazrat Ji. Then the day-to-day affairs of Nizamuddin, all the 10 cannot gather. All the 10 cannot stay in one place. Some are from Raivan, some from Tongi. So the day-to-day affairs, they said the 5 of the shura who are in Nizamuddin, they will handle the day-to-day affairs of Nizamuddin. These 5. Maulana Umar Palanpuri, Maulana Izhar Sahab, Miyaji Mehrab Sahab, Maulana Zubair Sahab, Maulana Saad. These 5 of the shura who are in Nizamuddin, they will handle the day-to-day affairs of Nizamuddin. And they used to decide it in rotation. 3 days each person. The day-to-day affairs. But the affairs concerning the whole work and the world, there were only 3 occasions. Hajj, Raivan Ijtima and Tongi Ijtima. Then in 1993 Shura formed. 95 Hazrat Ji passed away. In 95 the whole Shura gathered and they decided that everyone was agreed that in future the work will be carried out by Shura. In 1996 this Shura travelled a part of the world, all the Shura together, starting from Ceylon, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Philippines, Australia, up to Fiji, 8 countries. I was in that journey. As a khadim, they travelled all these 8 countries. The whole Shura together. That is the Eastern world. And in this journey, most of the time, Mufti Sahab was Faisal. And at times, it was not known at all who is Faisal. They all agreed on something and that was taken as Faisal. Everybody agreed on something, that was taken as Faisal. And at times, Mufti Sahab was Faisal. I was in the journey, complete journey, from Sri Lanka to Fiji and back, 1996. Then in 1998 or 99, the whole Shura undertook the journey of Africa. 98 or 99, when it was? The whole Shura, they undertook the journey of Africa, starting from Kenya, and then Zambia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Malawi, South Africa, Mauritius, reunion. Again, 8 countries. The whole shura together traveled, and the same was the situation, that either Mufti Sahib was Faisal, or it was not known at all who is Faisal. They all agreed on something, and that was taken as Faisal. In 1996, 8 countries towards east, the eastern world. 1998, the whole Africa. At that time there was no work in Western Africa. Only these countries had worked. After that only work started in Western Africa. At that time there was no work in Western Africa. So 1996 East, 1998 Africa, and in 2000 they undertook journey to Europe and America up to West Indies. To Europe, America, up to West Indies. They all traveled. And that umur of the countries were taken, masail of the countries were taken by the shura. I was in all the 3 journeys. Then, in the Ijtima, Tongi Ijtima, every Tongi Ijtima, every Raymond Ijtima, every Hajj, the umur of the world were brought to the shura, and shura was deciding. This went on. This carried on. And ultimately, the shura brothers, one by one, they passed away. They became rahmatullahi alayh, one by one. At many occasions, it was reminded that this shura should be completed. But for one or the other reason, it could not be done. So much so that 7 passed away and only 3 remained. Maulana Zubair Sahib, Maulana Saad Sahib, Haji Abdul Wahab Sahib. At that time, Maulana Zubair also agreed that this shura should be completed. But he was admitted to the hospital, he passed away. In 2015, Raymond Ijtima, all the responsible workers of the world, they demanded that now only 2 have remained, out of the shura of 10 which Hazratji had formed. Now this body should be completed. This demand came from different countries of the world. In 1990,